Welcome to the Randy Report. I'm Randy Slovacek, your host. I'm also the writer and editor of therandyreport.com, where you can find me every single day on the internet reporting on the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community. Today is World AIDS Day. Since 1988, we have designated December 1st as an international day dedicated to raising awareness of the AIDS pandemic caused by the spread of HIV infection, remembering those who have died of the disease, and hoping to highlight new hope on the horizon. So let's talk a bit about HIV and AIDS. First of all, while we've lived with the disease for decades, it's possible some folks aren't clear what AIDS actually is. HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus, attacks the body's immune system by destroying infection-fighting white blood cells, known as CD4+ cells. HIV can destroy so many of these, also known as T cells, that eventually the human body can't fight off infections or disease. If the disease develops long enough, folks may find themselves in the final stage of HIV, which is full-blown acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS. How do you contract HIV? The virus is spread through sharing certain bodily fluids, having unprotected sex with an infected person, but also by sharing needles and from a pregnant mother to her child. Because of advancements in treatment for HIV, people are living longer and better lives. But the epidemic isn't over. According to the Centers for Disease Control, there were almost 42,000 new infections in the United States in 2010. Now, that figure did decrease to 37,000 in 2014. Experts estimate that there are 37 million people living with HIV around the world. 1.8 of those became infected just last year. At the end of 2014, the CDC estimated that there were 1.1 million people living in the U.S. with HIV. But about 1 in 7, or 15% of those, didn't know they were infected. Obviously, this is bad. The sooner you know your status, the sooner you can get treatment. The sooner you can get treatment, the better chances you have to get your viral load down to undetectable, which makes for better health for you and reduces chance of passing on the virus you may have during sex. Also, while we focus on gay men when it comes to HIV in the United States, although President Donald Trump somehow found a way to not mention gay men or people of color at all in his World AIDS Day proclamation this year, women represent more than half, 52% of all people living with HIV around the world. The development of antiretroviral therapy has saved millions of lives, though, usually consisting of 3 medications combined into a once-a-day pill. These drugs, if taken regularly, mean folks with HIV can live normal lives with close to normal lifespans. Before antiretroviral therapy, back in the 1980s, the median time span for survival upon diagnosis was about only a year. Antiretroviral therapy, in many cases, brings a patient's viral load to what's known as undetectable. Now, that's not everyone on ART, and it doesn't mean you're cured. But the CDC has recently confirmed that people living with HIV with an undetectable viral load cannot transmit the virus to sexual partners. You may have seen the prevention campaign U equals U, or undetectable equals untransmittable. That said, experts still recommend you should use a condom when having sex, and if you are HIV negative, consider taking PrEP, which stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis. PrEP is a once-a-day pill using one HIV medication, which is about 95% effective in preventing new infections. Many experts credit PrEP with the decrease in new infections. For instance, in New York State, after a decade of seeing the number of new infections not budging, the past 2 years have seen a marked decline in new infections, thanks in great part to the state health departments educating doctors on the use of PrEP. There's not a cure or a vaccine for HIV/AIDS yet, but there is hope on the horizon. Researchers have recently announced the launch of 2 large-scale studies in Africa to test a new HIV-2 vaccine combination developed by Johnson & Johnson with help from the National Institutes of Health and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The study will include 2,600 women in Africa. Also, GlaxoSmithKline has a study involving 3,200 women in sub-Saharan Africa with a new experimental drug. So, on this World AIDS Day, what can you do about HIV/AIDS? Well, the easiest thing you can do, personally, is to get tested and know your status. Especially if you're a gay man, according to experts, you should get tested every 3 to 6 months. Additionally, today, you can show your solidarity with the millions living with HIV around the world. Wear a red ribbon, absolutely. Show you stand up for HIV awareness. And part of that is being educated and helping calm fears people may have about HIV. World AIDS Day is important because it reminds the public and our government that HIV has not gone away. There is still a vital need to raise money, increase awareness, fight prejudice, and, underline this one, improve education. For information about HIV, AIDS, and prevention and all of this, head over to worldaidsday.org. You can also check out helpstopthevirus.com for lots of great information. Thanks for listening to this special World AIDS Day episode of the Randy Report podcast. Because I like music and I find music inspires us and moves us, and because I like supporting out singer-songwriters and musicians, I'm going to close this episode with a cover version of the 1980s hit We Belong. This version is by award-winning out singer-songwriter Matt Zarley. Remember, you can find me every single day on the internet at therandyreport.com, where I report on the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community. Thanks for listening, folks. See you next time.
Many times I've tried to tell you, many times I've cried alone. Always I'm surprised how well you cut my feelings to the bone. Don't wanna leave you really, I've invested too much time to give you